Hey everyone, in this question we have been given a trigonometric equation and have also been given the domain which is in radians. We need to find the exact solution. So if we look at the equation carefully, we can see that the only unknown variable is in second term, which is 2x, and the first term and the second term can be simplified. So let's first rearrange for x. This will give us 10 2x will be equals to minus under root 3 upon 2 minus cos 1 upon 6 pi. Simplifying this will give us 10 2x will be equals to minus under root 3. Now if we look at the domain, we can see that the domain is given for x and what we have is 2x. So we cannot take the inverse since our domain we don't have the domain for 2x. So let's first try to find the domain for 2x. We can find it by simply multiplying the domain that we've been given by 2. So this will, multiplying this by 2 will give us that 2x lies between positive 1 upon 2 pi and negative 1 upon 2 pi. Now that the domain allows us to take inverse, we'll do that. So 2x, let's first substitute 2x with the variable that is more legible for us. So let's take a equals to 2x. So this will be 10 a equals to minus under root on 3. And we also know that we have a negative value, so we need to ignore that because we will be covering that in the graph. So a will be equals to 10 inverse of under root 3. This will give us the alpha value of this will be 1 upon 3 pi. Now if we make a graph, if we draw a graph and let's try to find where our graph, in which quadrant our graph will be made. We know that we have a negative value, so it cannot be in the quadrants where tan is positive, and we know that tangent is positive in the first quadrant and the third quadrant. The tangent over here is positive. It can either be in the second quadrant or it can be in the fourth quadrant. Now if we look at our domain, we know that pi is equals to 180, so pi upon 2 will be equals to 90. So this basically tells us that it should lie between 90 or negative 90. So between this range, since we already know that it cannot be in the first quadrant because over here only positive tangents are there, it should, the only remaining quadrant is the fourth quadrant. So we can make our graph in the fourth quadrant, and we know that alpha value is 1 upon 3 pi. So now we also know we can simply, instead of going full circle, we can just go counterclockwise and say that this is negative value. Or we can go the other way where we take a full circle and subtract the alpha value from 2 pi. So let's take the easier route, which is going counterclockwise. So this will give us a equals to negative 1 upon 3 pi. Let's substitute back 2x. So we know that 2x equals to minus 1 upon 3 pi. We need to solve for x, which was the original domain. So we can just divide both sides by 2 and we will get our final value, which will be x equals to minus 1 upon 6 pi.